I'm staying committed to giving y'all voiceovers even when I don't want to do it. So here we go. This is the look we're going to achieve in this video. As you know, we're going to start off with a clean, prepped face. Here we go. Moisturized, toned, hydrated, and we're ready to go. First step, prime your skin. This step is very important because it's as if you are getting ready to do some beautiful artwork. And if you paint your house with no primer, the paint doesn't stick as well and it doesn't come out with the best finish. And that is how we want to look at our makeup. When we prime our skin, we are setting up for our product, which is the foundation, the concealer, the contour, all the things to adhere to the primer, right? And to give us the most excellent finish possible. So you want to make sure you rub that primer into your skin and you just prepare your face for what's next, which is the makeup application. So today I decided to do something different. I decided to go in with my contour and I decided to kind of go crazy with it. I don't know. Lately, I just been feeling a little risky. So I just been doing some risky things with the makeup. So I decided to do this bronzing first because I seen that this is a technique that the girls are using. And this is when they underpaint or they do their contour first and then they add their foundation to places that concealer and contour will not be, which is typically the bottom of the face. And so I'm just trying it out. I'm just trying it out because that's a part of makeup, trying out techniques that works for you to give you the finish that you're looking for, which is sometimes the most natural or the most dramatic. For me today, it's a little bit in between, dramatic and natural. I decided to put some highlight underneath my foundation and underneath my blush just so I can have that natural appearance of a radiant skin, which is, as you can see with that highlight on there, it is giving that. Now we're going to go in with a little foundation, as I said, on the bottom half of our face. And we're just going to blend that out with a foundation brush into the contour and slightly around the mouth as well. Then we're going to go in with our concealer. This concealer is going to focus more so on the top half of our face as well as our under eye and the sides of our nose because no foundation has been applied here. So if we don't add concealer, you will definitely be able to see the lines of demarcation, which is when one thing such as your skin starts and stops and where the concealer is. And we don't want that. So we apply our concealer all over. After we apply our concealer, we're going to go in with our blush. Now, I want to emphasize that the more product that you use, the more coverage you will have. For example, this blush is very pigmented. I added a lot because as I continue to blend out the concealer, they're going to blend together and it's not going to look as pigmented. It's going to give us that natural appearance of blush because it's going to look like it's coming from underneath our skin, which is what we want. So we are doing this step at this point so that as we continue to apply makeup, the blush will not look so bright. And so using that contour brush to blend the blush and the contour together so that it looks more natural. Then we're going to go in with the concealer brush and begin to blend out our concealer. Now, I want to point out that when you use a brush in comparison to a beauty blender, you're going to get more coverage with the brush. Beauty blenders are considered a beauty sponge, and with sponges, what do they normally do? They absorb product. So if you want more coverage and you want the concealer to have, again, more coverage, emphasizing more coverage, use a brush because that is what our concealers are to do. It's to give us that coverage that we are looking for, whether that is a soft glam, a full glam, or a natural glam. Concealer is going to do its job if you use the proper tools. So I decided to use a brush today so that you guys can see the difference. You see how the product is blending out with the brush. You see how pigmented the product is. And then I'm going in with a foundation brush just to blend out the edges and to kind of add some natural tones on top of the concealer, because the concealer did and does appear much brighter. That's also a preference. Some people go one shade lighter, some people go 2 shades lighter. I typically go 1 to 2 shades lighter as well. Now we're going to go on with the same concealer brush over the sponge. I'm showing you the difference because the last time I did a makeup video, the sponge just took off too much concealer and I didn't like it personally. And so I'm just showing you, these are tapping motions. When you use a concealer brush, a brush that says concealer on it, that brush is designed to help you with blending out your concealer. Every product has a design brush. That does not mean you have to use the design brush, but it is designated to help you properly blend out your makeup and have a better finish with that brush and with that product. So as you can see, I'm using a concealer brush and all the concealer is still there and it's blended out very nicely and it's giving me that full coverage. And so depending on the finish that you want, depends on the products that you use as well as the tools that you use. So we're going to go in with the same concealer brush. I'm just showing you it's a concealer brush by Morphe, and we're going to do that on the we're going to use that for the other side as well. The reason why I decided to do such a dramatic under eye this day with the sharp line going onto my like temples of my head is because that gives me the illusion that my face has like a facelift. The brighter your under eye and cheekbones is, it just gives the illusion that your face is like super snatched, right? And so that's all that I did that for. The illusion. That is what makeup is all about, is emphasizing the qualities in the the qualities that we already have in our face, complementing the face structure that we have. So after we blend out our concealer, we're going to go in with the beauty blender and we're going to go in with powders, because the powder is going to sit on the beauty blender, and as we press it, it is going to also, transfer well. So we're going in with a pressed powder. Pressed powder is similar to foundation powder, and what it does is it sits on top of that concealer, while loose powder is typically for setting the makeup. Foundation powder is not the same, but can be used the same. So loose setting powder is going to set our makeup so that it stays on our face and that it lasts all day long. So I'm just setting all my face with loose setting powder. I'm going in with the Morphe setting powder, and I'm going in all the places that we apply concealer, just so that our concealer sets. We're going into where our face would naturally crease, which is on the sides of our nose, underneath our eyes, on our forehead. We're going to then go in with the Huda Beauty. Now I like to go in with the Huda Beauty because it has some warm color to it, warm pigment to it, and that kind of gives that illusion that our face is not just flat with one color, such as white powder. And then I'm going to go in with some bronzing powder to warm the face back up, to add some more dimension back into the face, to also set our contour and to warm up those brighter places, giving us a more natural finish. We're going to also take some bronzing powder on our eyelid as well as our nose. You always want to add powder to your nose just to always add powder to your eyelid so that your eyelid is not naked in regards to everywhere else having makeup, and then your eyelid not having any makeup. We are then just setting our nose as well. Now it's time to go into our brows. Now, I personally like to use dip brow because I like the coverage that it gives me when I do my brows. I like to do hair-like strokes so that I'm having the illusion of more eyebrow hairs, although I'm creating them with the powder. And I also like to define my eyebrows with the pomade as well. We're not at that step yet, but I like to do as many hair strokes as possible just to have a fuller and darker eyebrow, no sparse places or bald spots in my eyebrows. So we're just finishing up the brow portion. After this step, we are going to define our brows by drawing a line underneath as well as on top and connecting them. And then we're going to fill those in. Here we are. So we want to make a small line just to be very precise with connecting our eyebrows. Making our eyebrows look super sharp. Okay, so then I'm drawing at the top of my eyebrow, lightly connecting the line as well as giving myself an arch. I'm going to fill the arch in, and then that is it. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Eyebrows are sisters and not twins, but you do want them both to look very clean and organized. Eyebrows are sisters and not twins, which means they're not going to look identically alike because they're not the same, but you do want to make them look as nice as possible. So I'm just being extra detailed. After this step, we're going to go in and conceal any imperfections as far as the hair strokes that we created. We're going to clean up the lines and making our eyebrows just a tad bit more precise. And we're going to do that on both sides. And then after that, we're just going to blend this out. Now with the brows, I just feel like they are a huge part of makeup. Like, people are always looking at other people's brows. And because of that, I feel that this is a step that you need to be very detailed as well as patient with. This might be the longest process of your makeup, honestly. So after we do our brows, we're going to then go in with our bronzing powder on the top of our eyelid as well as our lower lash line. I like to add the powder to my lower lash line because sometimes when we do all those other powders as well as the concealer, that lash line can be very bright, and I did not like the way that that looked on camera. So to add some warmth back to my eyelid, I just add a tad bit of bronzer on both sides, on the top as well on the bottom. Now, most important step is lashes, okay? Lashes, lashes, lashes. They add a extra flare on top of what we already have going on. My first step is always adding some lash glue to my lash line and to the band, the eyelash band. I like both of the glues to dry down until they're clear and no longer white.
I want to
Normally
cry.
I do my
Maybe I should
mascara
say
first,
that.
but today again I'm just
sad
trying
to the
something
point of
different.
tears.
With mascara you want
They
to go
just have
very
not come
slow
yet.
because this can be very messy if you go too fast. Now, when you are applying lashes, you want to look down. You want to angle the eyebrows so that you can get a closer application to your natural lash line as well as the lash band. Another tip when applying your lashes is to let the glue dry down until it's no longer white, but until it is completely clear. This eyelash was not completely dry, which is why it wasn't sticking. So you will see in a few seconds that I just went on to the next lash to wait for that one to dry down. Like I tried to place it, but it just wouldn't stay. And so I gently applied it and then I said, okay, let's go to the other side. So again, I'm going to try my best to explain this. What you want to do is pick up the lash at an angle. See how it's angled down? And then I'm going to place it right on top of my lash line, as close to my lash line as possible. I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to press it down. I'm going to also use these tweezers, these lash applicator, to apply it and to make sure it's as close to my lash as possible, as well as making sure that it's actually sticking well. I like to look up and now listen. Look, see how that just stayed on there? Because you need to let it dry some. Now I'm just pressing it to make sure it's actually adhered to my lash, and I'm just blinking. And then what I like to do is just double check. And just look down. You're going to see a good, wiggle it on there. Just keep touching it until you feel like it's secure. And yes, that's the makeup application. That's the lash application. We'll be back in a couple seconds to do our lips. Okay, for lips, we're going to go in with Morphe Trendsetter. I'm going to outline our lips with the darkest shade first. With the darkest shade, we're going to bubble the shape of our lips. You can overline if you like. I try my best to stay on my lip, my actual lip, the shape of my lip, because when I overline, it's always on my chin, and I don't really want to do it. But we're going to go as close to the edge as possible. And it's really define. I noticed it's kind of like the ombre effect. You start with the darker color on the outside, but then you bring in a more cooler color in the middle, a lighter color in the middle. You want to blot so that they blend together, and then you want to go with your lipstick. When you do this, it gives you that ombre effect without it being a harsh difference between the dark and the light as well as the lipstick. Sometimes you use a pink lipstick or a new lipstick, and so this just really helps. the shade. Just defining the bottom outer part of the lip. Lip gloss, and that one I believe is cantaloupe. I don't know. I just love showing. You could have stopped at that. My face is already mixed. I feel like my lip gloss to make it shiny. I need to get a bigger one. So we're gonna go in with that clear gloss just on the liner, just to bring that out. And yes, that's perfect. And this is the look. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing.
We are back home from church.
And
typically when I do my makeup, it is on Sunday. And
phone light,
so
this is natural lighting. This is right underneath the sun.
But I wanted to come back in to just show you guys my face after church and see how my makeup lasts and how oily and stuff that I am. Today, I feel like I'm not as oily as I normally am. I didn't do anything different. I put the same amount of steps. I think I just used a lot more powder today. Also, I was crying at church today, and the amount of times I cried today just doesn't matter. But as you can see, like, obviously because this is a camera with some lighting on me, you could probably tell like my under eye is completely gone. And you probably can't even tell. I was outside and nobody is looking at me like, girl, where is the rest of your makeup at? So with that being said, I got some crease right here. Like in this area, you can see those creases. The reason why I like to do more soft glam or natural glam, I don't feel like natural could be a glam, but natural makeup is because when instances like this happen, you can't really tell. And I'm going to scoot a little closer so you can see, but there is no makeup underneath my eye because I was like literally crying today. I also wore some sunglasses, and so I have like sunglass prints on my nose. But this is my makeup after service today. Serving, worshiping, serving, like, yeah, the makeup lasts. If you take your time, you do your skincare, you put on primer, all the things. I also did use 2 primers today. One was a mattifying and one was just a regular e.l.f. primer. So that could have played a part in the difference, just layering your primers. I have no idea, but we're going to try it again in a couple days and see what we come up with. So, yep, this is my makeup.